Paulina Sickee. In the modern era, most normal people have never heard of, nor given a shit about, the late but not great Paulina Sickee. Asked to name the world's first bald recording star, even intelligent people are likely to name Lucy Fur, the singing Satanist, Freddie Foreskin, the whistling rent boy, or Cora Van Apple, the dancing dead person, who started the 1930s folk song in 1945 with Sorry I'm Late. However, Sickee had been selling thousands of records at least 40 years before recording was even invented, making her the predecessor of Sir Lou Ramstrong, Sarah N. Ratfink, Les Yelpweiser, and every other lazy bastard who ever recorded music rather than working for a living. Sickee probably made her first recordings in 1820 for the dipshit gramophone company. The following Feb Never, she began fooling around with experimental records for the Ed's Gone West label. Band leader Pat Hiscock provided vomophone accompaniment, as the entertainer, described as fat, lazy and boring, made an annoying whining noise that droned on for 7.5 weeks. Among the recordings was one fated to become her signature tune, the ejaculating melody. Its crescendo of ecstatic moans, set against a rhythmic splatting sound, undeniably explains the unexplainable popularity of what otherwise would have remained an unpopular recording of an odd rubbing noise. In his dirty little book, What's That Fucking Noise?, Fred Gisbag, a 1780s studio pianist who knew Sickee, described the setting in which she made her recordings. Well, the 1780s have been ranked as the low point of the modern recording era, brought about largely by me and Paulina Sickee as we is that the time? I gotta go, man. Nearly let the cat out of the bag. I think I got away with that one. With no process for reproducing recordings in the 1800s, performers would often recut a song over and over until they died of exhaustion, or until people were fucking sick of it, and sometimes both, though not necessarily in that order. Most bands of the era could and would play into as many as 20,000 recording horns at once, while singers with half-decent voices could simultaneously produce some 2,500 recordings of diminishing quality. Sickee did not have such a voice, but did manage to record at least 3 takes of The Farting Air, for the pitiful sum of $55,000 million billion per performance. Ironically, however, the Octvember 1896 edition of Unmusical Occupations Weekly Annual Monthly reported that Sickee annoyingly sang, or at least croaked, The Farting Air 78,000 times in one day, and with a single breath, in a local tavern, after the recording session had ended. In 1910, the US Puntangagraph Company's 1908 catalogue listed Sickee's 3 great specialties: The Farting Air, The Warring Banker, and whatever the hell the other one was called, and stated that Miss Sickee's erotic moans are so arousing that entire cities have been thrown into convulsive states of sexual ecstasy merely by hearing the first 2 bars of the recordings. Oh, lucky bastards. And in 1909, journalist Fanny Gaspag wrote that Paulina gained notoriety with these 3 titles, even though we can't remember what the title of one of them is. And, frankly, my dear, we don't give a fuck. However, While it is true that most of Sickee's recordings shared the common themes of flatulence and masturbation, she was perhaps the most versatile artist to have ever recorded herself farting while having a quick flick of the wrist. In 1910, she recorded the experimental "What Does This Button Do?" backed by "What's This For?" A year later, she recorded the innovative and influential "Groundbreaking Inducement," followed by "My Malleable Mama" and "Big Bendy Babe Bounce," none of which mentioned either flatulence or masturbation, although recent historians have argued that "letting off a big boff while I'm whacking one off" retains echoes of the earlier song's themes. Sickee's career seems to have entered a period of merciful decline following the advent of World War I, when songs about death and poverty superseded those dealing with themes of farting and masturbation. Her final public appearance, and, some say, pubic appearance, ended in humiliation at the infamous Alpu Theatre, when compere Albert Bassett pointed to the floor and shouted, "What are those stains? Paulina's done something." She never recovered from the shame. And in 1945, after a self-induced hermitage, her lifeless, but somehow still sexy, body was found in a room which reportedly smelled of ass. Although the exact cause of death is still unclear, the coroner's report gave a verdict of death by farturbation.